Hi all, Rick here. So, when we're introduced to the term Dahar Master, it certainly does the job of establishing the differential term to the notable Klingons Kor, Koloth and Kang. However, I was always unclear as to what exactly it was. Originally I thought it a rank in the Empire, but that can't be the case, considering the later placement of Kor as merely third officer under a captain, and even if he was demoted, he still held the title of Dahar Master. So I sort of had the impression it was like saying you were a black belt or something, a martial arts rank, but we have no references to Dahar as a form of combat. So I took a look, and there are some great tales to tell around the title of legendary Dahar Master. In short, it is an honorific. In the time of Emperor Kaldon, which was soon after the passing of Kahless and the founding of the Empire, the Klingons had acquired warp technology. Some records say this was reverse engineered from the Herc invasion towards the end of Kahless' rule. It was under Kaldon's leadership that the Empire began to expand away from Kronos, and while they forayed into other territories with raids and plundering, they'd yet to establish a presence beyond their homeworld. Kaldon directed the houses to focus their efforts on the planet of Tygo Kor, and a competition began to seize the planet from its current inhabitants, the Samnati. After a long and bloody campaign, Birok, with his chief strategic advisor, Korvac, managed to subjugate the world, making it the first Klingon planet taken by the Empire. It was quickly converted into a fortress world, and to this day acts as the backup throne world for the Empire, basically a sort of Helm's Deep for the Klingons. For the honour of expanding the Empire, Birok was named by Kaldon a Dahar Master. This angered Korvac, who saw himself as responsible for the successes, who then slew Birok, but none recognised his claims and Korvac was eternally dishonoured for his acts. The Klingon dictionary gives a potential origin for the term, drawn from the words Da, which is a rank but only around that of a corporal, while Ha means to believe, faith. So the words together in Dahar could translate into something like one in whom to believe in. If accurate, this suggests that the term Dahar Master is used to point out a notable exemplar or paragon of Klingon virtue. Their deeds and achievements were to be remembered, celebrated and retold in tales and songs among the warriors of the Empire. A Dahar Master was a Klingon who had achieved such status and been on noted events so grand that they were to be remembered as legend. Only the Emperor, or the Chancellor in later days, could dispense the title, one of the highest badges a Klingon could wear, as it elevated their deeds to stand alongside the eternal, unforgettable Kahless. The three that we are aware of in Deep Space Nine are the TOS-era Klingons of Kang, Koloth and Kor. Each of these reached the rank of captain during the 23rd century and lived well into the 24th. And by this time each had received the title of Dahar Master, though we don't know when or how. Kang was a noted diplomat, strategist and warrior who had the ear of several chancellors over the years. Koloth had a similar career, and Kor was one of the sharpest and most efficient tacticians in the Empire in his prime. Once they led an army of 40 legions against Tnag, a rival Klingon warlord who commanded even more soldiers and houses. The battles were fierce and took place over several years and planets, culminating in a victory for the three allies against overwhelming odds. They then proceeded to feast on Tnag's heart. So I guess Klingons are cannibals when it's dressed in tradition. It could be this victory that's elevated them to Dahar Master, though each has numerous accomplishments before this feat. Another noted Dahar Master was Korek, who was selected to train the Avwil Battle, the Imperial Honor Guard, and across the schools of great warriors. The schools themselves were derived from the time of Kahless, when he found the warriors of the Hand of the Flame and took them to train him and his armies. After the defeat of Molor, Kahless took the heads of the Hand of the Flame, Ogat, Tukar and Kolos, and bid them open the schools to teach the most gifted warriors, from whom the Honor Guard would be selected. Dahar Master Korik was one such instructor of the 24th century, and his place in such a prestigious position speaks to his skill in combat and tactics, if nothing else. So from what we can see, the title of Dahar Master is granted beyond the traditional ranking structure of the Empire's Klingon Defense Force. It does not equate to a military rank, and once granted, the title seems to be maintained even after acts of poorer conduct. Thus, the title is selectively given to Klingons who have amassed such a legendary reputation that I think they'd be noted whether or not they received the moniker. The title itself affords nothing beyond the respect and reputation, a badge of merit and recognition from the Chancellor themselves, and it's a sigil to exclaim the truest tenets of what it means to be a legendary Klingon. Thanks to their achievements, Dahar Masters already tend to be in notable or prominent positions. Generals, influential captains, those who have sway with the great houses and have had massive strides in bettering the Empire. In later life they become these larger-than-life figures about which tales are spun, and often find themselves acting as inspiration or tutors for the next generation of Klingon warriors. So, I'll leave you off with a question. Do you think Worf would become a Dahar Master? Personally, although he has done much to shape the Empire, and I think does embody the ideals of Klingon honour and duty, I don't think so. Not that he doesn't deserve it, it's just that he's too entrenched in the Federation, and especially now with his dealings in Starfleet intelligence. It's sort of his fate now that his deeds will be secretive and not sung about in the feasting halls of Tycho Core or the messes of Klingon battleships. He's also too divisive a character among the Empire. So until the next video, I've been Rick. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.